any better for the Kansas City Chiefs this offseason. They locked down their future in Patty Mahomes.
You got Jones, then Kelsey, and Mahomes signed for like half a billion. You got players on your football team buying baseball team.
I'm surrounded by baby toys. Like Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by guys who on offense are some of the best in the league.
Oh no, let the defense go. Let the defense go.
If Patty does what he does, and he has one less guy on offense.
In Kansas City, thank you.
Coming in! How? Welcome on in, everybody. We have got the SportsMe Weekly Windup. I am sitting in the driver's seat today, and Robbie is my co-host today. So I am Derek. You guys know me from the Good Old Boys Fantasy Football Podcast, and I am joined by my co-host, Rum Boys Robbie of the Rum Boys Fantasy Network. Robbie, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm doing well today because it's literally afternoon here in Colorado, where we both live. So I'm doing good this afternoon. Derek, how about yourself?
You know, I can't complain. It's always a lot of fun to come on here and share the wonders of what the SportsMe can do and what we can do with this weekly windup and really recap some of the things that have gone on the app and really kind of showcase that. So always a great time getting to come on here and chat with you about it. So I can't be better. I'm very, very excited on this one. So and this last week has been a pretty interesting week as far as a lot of topics going, as far as a lot of different things out there in the in kind of the sports world. What were some of your your favorite kind of topics going through?
So I need to bring up the fact, all right, now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not going to happen every single weekend, but during the Sunday slate, if you took a look, if you're a betting person like myself, if you took a look at the slate before things kicked off, you felt pretty confident in a lot of the favorites almost, right?
Very.
The Bills lost, Dallas got mollywopped, and it just kept going and going and going from there on. The fact that one of my favorite headlines from a betting standpoint, the fact that majority of the underdogs won over the weekend, that was astronomical. That was unbelievable. You're never gonna get that again. You're never gonna get that again. So hey, big ups.
Yeah, big ups to anybody that had the Jags, the Broncos, the Titans, and the Giants as far as the parlay go. Like if you were brave enough to play that, good on you, and congratulations. For the rest of us that played anything else but that, we're over here kind of crying. But I digress.
It was a weekend where a lot of people lost a lot of money, but with that said and with that stated and that aside, it was still a damn good week of football, So that was entertaining within itself.
That's true. That was one thing that we were treated to was some just good overall games, right? Like can't complain about the gameplays, the matchups, things like that, because there was some good football and it showed up on the field and so definitely some things that played very well and this topic translates very well to one of our daily cash games that we did past week, and it was is sports betting legal near you? And yay or nay, give the take on a pro or a con stance for it. And so let's go ahead and we'll hit the video and we'll
hit
come
that
back.
Like button, guys. Hit that like button as well.
Present a rebuttal whether why or why not sports gambling should be legal in your state. Go ahead, represent your state, drop a rebuttal, drop a debate. Let's hear why or why not.
Every time someone hits me up and goes, Hoof, why don't you do DFS? Because I can't download FanDuel in the state of Wisconsin. So Tony Evers, figure it out. Right now you got this deal going on with the Oneida Nation so that they can do sports gambling at their casinos, but I can't download FanDuel.
So we have DFS is legal, but sports betting is not.
Mandating choice, I think, is ultimately a difficult situation, especially when it comes to betting. There's multiple layers of regulation that the state of California would like to have in place. But at the end of the day, I feel like sports betting is just as much of a vice as drinking alcohol.
Yeah, what LFG said. Let me translate for him. I want my freedom as an American, okay? If I want to place my sports bets, I want to place my sports bets because that's what American does. American does what American wants to do, all right?
Fucking Hoove wearing a bathrobe. Like, it took me a minute to register it, and I was like, as he was doing that last take, I'm like, he has WWE belts,
Yep.
and I'm pretty sure those were WWF belts back when it was the World Wrestling Federation. While wearing a freaking bathrobe, the only thing that he was missing is a freaking cigar. Like, and that would have been the most American shit ever. Now, with that being said and that aside, okay, and I love that he kind of anger translated it, like kind of Key and Peele style, from what LFG has stated. Look, the fact that in most states you can play daily fantasy, okay, or in the words of my homie Leonard Fournette, daily fantasy, okay, which is still a form of betting, okay. States that are that this is illegal. There's a group of guys in your state right now, okay. There's probably a couple of groups of these guys, probably in the same bars. They all may not know each other. A game may get intense, may get within 1 point. Let's say one guy's a Jets fan and the Jets are about to win, right? And he's gonna turn to his buddy and he's gonna say, "Hey, listen here, Mike. I'll bet you right now that we're gonna win. I'll bet you my whole Carl. Don't do it, Bobby. Don't do it, Carol. Listen, I got this. Okay, I got this. I'll bet you $100 right now." People are still doing it. Okay, there is no difference in me walking into an establishment of which you get the taxes from, in which that's now able to help you get better school books, pay roads, and all the other little grimy shit that government people like to do. Y'all can now afford to do now even more grimy shit, okay? Because you're going to get the taxes from the casinos. The casinos are going to make so much money. The books are going to make so much money. Already here in New York, they're going to be putting a 51% tax rate on the bookies that'll be legally allowed to operate. They're going to be bringing in so much money, especially over weekends like what just happened. Okay, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. It's the same thing that when you legalize marijuana. Okay, well, when you gave the states an independent ability to legalize Mary Jane. You made money off of divorce. Okay, when we decided, to change certain things, and certain laws where it's like, hey, anyone can get married. Love who you love. You're into making money any which way you can. Why not go ahead and let people do what they do? Put some stipulations so that grandma doesn't lose her freaking life savings. Okay. Say we'll only allow bets up to a certain amount or whatever the case. Get your taxes from the casinos, tax them at 51%, and let the people live. Because we're going to do it anyways. We're going to be at backyard barbecues doing it anyways. I'll make a bet with you right now, Derek. I don't care.
Hard pass. Nope. After this last weekend, nope. I gotta pass.
You're right. Hey, this last weekend, and I get that, that people are probably concerned. Well, what about the people that hit? What if there now becomes, now more people gaining profit? Well, that's you're still putting more money back in the economy because you're creating a person that didn't have money before that's now going to go and blow money. So that money's still being circulated. They're going to go and buy. They're going to win $1 million one time in their lifetime. And they're going to be like, time to go buy a Tesla. Like, time to go buy a house, time to pay off debts. You have people like Derek and I on our podcast will give advice and give out picks and stuff like that. Let them be, like more money makes money. I think I win.
Yeah.
I think I win. I'm pretty sure I win that debate.
Yeah, that was I don't know that there's anything left to talk about there, but very well stated, very well said there. And you got talking about some of the money type of things and that kind of stuff. And kind of another topic out there around especially kind of trending today. We've seen some news breaking on some of this stuff recently when it comes to comes to money, comes to getting paid, comes to paydays, right? Like we just saw a couple of tweets before we came on live here that the Browns signed one of their guards, Joel Pittione there, to a big contract extension there. And that was another topic that we discussed on the app and was another daily cash game for us. And that was athletes and compensation, right? Like, are athletes compensated fairly for what they do? And so we took that question to the SportsMe verse, and today's topic is athletes and compensation. Should athletes be paid as much as they are? Let us know.
It's all about supply and demand, right? Organizations, professional organizations are looking for players, which is the supply, and the players demand money. So of course they're going to get paid an incredible amount of money because there's so few great athletes out there. So yeah, I don't see why not. Why not?
Yes, they should get paid 1,000% exactly what they're getting paid. Whatever the economics of the sport is.
They are the product. Without them, these games do not happen. So their compensation, in my opinion, should be directly correlated with the revenue that their teams are bringing in.
Wait a second, now Smokey, I agree with you to a point. But literally without football or baseball or hockey or basketball, there would be no athletes.
No, absolutely not. They need to be getting paid a hell of a lot more. The amount of money that the owners are making off of the backs of these players is ludicrous compared to how much these players are getting paid, even with these exorbitant max contracts that you're seeing in every league. Players today are still grossly underpaid compared to what ownership and other folks are getting. So no, they absolutely need to be paid more.
We always want to complain that people are making so much money, but at the end of the day, they're bringing in the revenue to make that kind of money.
The money you make should be reflected upon how much money you generate for your company. So, these athletes, there are definitely some athletes that shouldn't be making as much as they're making.
Hell yeah, man. The whole reason that fans come to the stadium, it's not to see the coaches or see the ballpark. It's to see the athletes perform. If anything, I feel like they should get paid more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is supply and demand. If we want to buy tickets, we want to buy the merchandise, and the owners think they're worth it, they should pay them. I don't see people complaining that entertainers make that Lady Gaga, Beyonce can run around on stage screaming off key and make $300 million. That some bad comedians can use jokes from the 70s and make $80 million.
I think that a lot of them should be paid more than they are, because in certain leagues, the collective bargaining agreement is so heavily in favor of the owners and not the players' union that it's almost absurd to see that they're making millions of dollars, yes, but their share of the pie that the revenue stream is accounting for is not adequate.
So great topic there. Real quick, before we jump into this one, we did have a comment come on right as we were cutting the video there. So wanted to take it to the hizzy, joining in on YouTube, commenting. Thanks for tuning in here. Afternoon, gents. Still waiting on Maryland to get FanDuel rolling. Tired of the offshore books. Yeah, I could see that being tiresome there.
Yo, shout out to the homie Justin, bro. Yo,
Absolutely.
Justin, download the app, bro. Download the app. Link is in the description section, my guy.
Yeah, come talk with us. Come play for some of these this daily cash games that we've got going on there, and give your take. Your take is always your buy-in on the daily cash game. So make sure that you're hitting that up. But let's come back to the topic at hand of athletes and compensation there. And there was a lot of really, really good points there.
Daddy Davis had the best one, I feel.
That was where I was going, and I was getting ready to jump in that topic myself. And then Daddy Davis hit it, and I'm like, nope. He teed it up and he hit it perfectly, right? Like there's not many other things out there that are widely controversial as the topic of compensation and like, are they getting enough or are they getting too much type of thing, as opposed to a lot of sports athletes out there. Right. And like, you think about it, how some of that started, there was a famous quote from Babe Ruth back in the day. When people go, Babe Ruth, you made more than the president did last year. And that was back in the time where that wasn't the case. But Babe Ruth goes, well, I had a better year than he did. So, you have a lot of those types of things come into play, things like that going on there. And I think a lot of these guys hit it very well as far as, athletes getting paid, things like that. There was some of the economic type of things in there that some of the guys started going through that, when you're talking the economics and you're talking supply and demand, well, the supply and demand is always going to come from the consumer on this one, right? So if you are putting a product out there and the consumer's demanding that product, so you've supplied the product, they're demanding the product, and the economics will work themselves out there to a point where they're going to keep buying merchandise. They're going to keep buying, paying for television. They're going to keep paying for those types of things to put that through, to the point where you'll see that. Now, Bo brought up a great topic about some of these players associations, and we've seen this come to play in a couple of different leagues where very strong player associations have the ability to dictate a lot more things going on in those collective bargaining agreements, and some of these other ones don't, because of the fact that there's some leagues out there, the NFL, one of them, that a lot of guys don't make it through their first contract on it, so they're needing to get paid, and they're needing to go through that. Whereas like baseball, who has a very strong collective or players association, those guys tend to play longer into their career, and you tend to see a lot more staying power there. And so you see a stronger players association, because it all comes down to, just like anything else in life, that negotiation that takes place, and where folks are really willing to take a stand, and where folks are really willing to let some things go. And that's where you see some of the difference really come to play, I think.
We have to start acknowledging the fact that us as humans treat these athletes like these are our modern day gladiators. Okay, they are performers. They are there for entertainment. They are entertaining us. Okay, the point that Daddy Davis made, and I really want to drive this home. People aren't complaining. Don't complain when Beyonce goes and makes $400 million on tour, or gets booked to go perform for some freaking special prince in Dubai or some crazy shit, and gets paid for like this. Like, your favorite entertainers are getting paid for it. The athletes deserve the same respect, and unlike some of your favorite entertainers, some of them are using auto tune or whatever. Beyonce, she'd be running in hills on the treadmill, getting it. She'd be prepping for it. She puts in the work to earn that damn money. But there are some, that they're using auto tune, and they're not even, playing real instruments no more. Like the whole music thing has just changed. With sports, they're putting their bodies on the line. And ACL tears, that could be it. That could be done. How many of us in our day to day are, tearing freaking ACLs and like going through like life-ending like injuries. I mean, it happens. Like it happens. You can lift a box at your warehouse job the wrong way, and then boom, tear something, or whatever the case may be. But these athletes, they're taking the most severe of the severe injuries. Football players are going through a car crash repetitively for 60 freaking minutes. Basketball players, the wear and tear that puts on your knees jumping and then constantly landing in that impact. Baseball players with the constant shoulder motion, they're doing things at a high level, and they're doing things that if it was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would be making $1 million doing it.
Right. Well, and it's one of those that you're talking about, athletes, especially that are at the professional level, are at the top 1% of all athletic capabilities out there worldwide in most cases, right? And your players that are, and your elite players that are really seeing the big contracts are, at a 1% of the 1% type of thing. So a very, very small percentage of the population can go out and do what it is that they're doing. And what they're doing isn't easy, to your point, right? They're putting their bodies on the line. They're putting things out there to the point where, there may not be a whole lot left when their playing days are done. So absolutely, like, get that bag and set yourself up and set your family up, for success down the road and for the future there. Absolutely.
And just like an entertainer, their lives are completely public.
Yeah, and a lot of cases, in a lot of cases, not only are the lives public, but a lot of cases the regiment is pretty much dictated to them. That this is the training program, this is the meals that we're eating, this is your playbook study, this is film study, this is all of these types of things that come to it outside of just practice and games, right? Like it's one of those that we typically see a lot of these guys go through and go, oh, I could show up and play 60 minutes on one day a week, practice a couple of times, whatever. Like it's there's constantly that struggle that you see athletes that show up to the organization arena before the sun gets up, and they leave before the sun, leave after the sun sets to it. And they're putting in 10, 12-hour days, whether it's a workout, whether it's a practice, whether it's film study, whether it's all of these different things, whether it's getting treatments and all of these different types of things that really put a lot of wear and tear and stress on themselves and their bodies. So absolutely right. Like get that bag while you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, one of the other topics that we talked about was, kind of taking it back into the past there a little bit, right? As well as into the present on if you could pick, right? Like that's one of the things that is always debated out there in the sports world when you're talking is, what does it look like if you're in a game 7, if you're in that championship title clenching type of game, who do you want on your team? Who do you want out there, whether it's basketball, right? Like, do you want, and you got to take that final shot. Who do you want taking it? Whether it's, baseball and who it is, like who's taking the mound for you, those types of things. And that was what we discussed and what we went after there in one of these daily cash games was, you got a game 7, the series is on the line. Who are you putting out there for your starting pitcher? Let's see what the tape had to say.
If there was a game 7 and you could pick one pitcher to win you the game, the starting pitcher, who do you pick?
I'm going to go with Pedro Martinez, the one and only. Nobody better than Pedro Martinez.
There's none better in the World Series ever than the big unit Randy Johnson. What do you have in the World Series that year? 2 wins and a save and like 30-something strikeouts?
Other than Andy Pettitte. The most postseason wins in the history of baseball with 19.
Did you guys all, fall off the face of the earth, hit your head, crawl back under a rock, and forget about the best pitcher in the history of the World Series ever? You could probably lump that in with postseason history. Best pitcher, postseason, World Series history, none other than the Mad Bum, Madison Bumgarner. Yeah, he's the best pitcher in the history of the World Series. I want that guy. Honorable mention, Andy Pettitte.
I want Sandy Koufax, man. I saw Sandy Koufax striking out 16 in the World Series. Give me that guy.
Pedro Martinez. You think about the most dominating pitching performance of all time was a 17 strikeout game at Yankee Stadium against that lineup.
It has to be the big unit. There's not been a pitcher that has been more physically dominating and terrifying than that 6'10" man on the mound.
Probably going to go with Max Scherzer in his prime.
I love this question. I'm going to go with Sandy Koufax. Let me run through some numbers. Sandy Koufax has a .95 postseason ERA. Compare that to the guys already picked. Randy Johnson has a 3.5, and Pedro has a 3.46. Sandy Koufax has 2 World Series MVPs, including 1965, where he had a .38 ERA in the World Series, and got the wins in games 2, 5, and 7. Me Koufax.
I don't know.
Who is it? You or you sending out there to the mound?
I'd probably say Madison Bumgarner. I'd probably go. It's either Bumgarner or either Randy Johnson. Okay, so here's actually no, fuck that. I'm going Randy Johnson. The man killed a bird. I get that was in a regular season game, but he killed a bird. So yeah, and he beat a freaking favorite. You beat a freaking Yankees team.
That Yankees team was tough too.
Exactly. Jeter was at the top of his game then. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm probably gonna go Randy Johnson. The man killed the bird, and you were pitching against basically prime Jeter, bro. And it was the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks. Come on.
I hear you. One name that was I thought was a little strange that nobody went this route, and this was a route that I would go on this. There has only been one perfect game thrown in the entire postseason history of Major League Baseball, And this guy did it in a World Series nonetheless. And nobody mentioned him throughout that. And so the guy that I'm going out there, if I got to have one game on the line, and, which, a lot of these folks are talking about the dominant performances here, there, and everything. It's not, higher hit percentage. Sure, I get it. But I'm going to take the guy that's the only guy to have ever thrown a perfect game, not only in the World Series, but also in the entire history of Major League Baseball postseason, and that's Don Larson. Now, I get it that Don Larson threw that perfect game back in 1956. It was a Game 5 in the World Series, but still stands that, you think about all of the absolutely amazing pitchers and the greats that we have seen come through Major League Baseball history to play in both the postseason and the World Series, and for there have only to been one perfect game thrown there, I'm taking that guy.
Okay, I'm with it.
So I'll not the consensus pick for sure, but I'll stand by myself on that one.
Hey, I respect it. I like that. I like being different. I like being different. Okay.
Absolutely. So, one of the other things that we'll go ahead and head over to the next topic there. And if you guys have any questions, comments, anything like that, throw them out there. We'll hit up some of the questions, comments here after we get through our next segment here. But
I see Justin up in the chat.
Yep, that's who I was talking about, Justin. We'll get to your questions and comments here after we get done talking about this next segment. But if you guys have some other comments, questions, things like that, go ahead and throw them out there, and we'd love to chat with you and interact with you. So one of the other topics that was very big in the NFL here, right? Like, centered around a team that we talked about a little bit earlier, the Browns paying some of their guards in that offensive line earlier today. Well, they also made another move, and that was to release Odell Beckham Jr. So that was another topic that was trending there, another daily cash game battle that we talked about there. And the question is, if Odell Beckham Jr. to be released, what team do you want to see him go to and why?
Let's get right into today's topic. What I want to know from you guys, the Cleveland Browns have chosen to release Odell Beckham Jr. finally. Where does he land and why? Don't just give me a team. Give me a reason why he would be a good fit with that team. May the odds forever be in you guys' favor.
I got 3 guesses. Bills, Packers, or Saints. Those are my 3 guesses.
The Lions are number 1 on the waiver wire right now, so they might be dumb enough to actually pay OBJ's contract. But if it clears waivers, I don't know. Part of me really wants to see him go to the Rams. If they're going to cut Deshaun Jackson, they have an opportunity for wide receiver to come in, and they're paying Von Miller, and they're going all in this year. Why not just go all in with OBJ?
Yeah, send my boy to Atlanta, bro. He needs a city where he can just unwind, have a good time. Yes, friends out there. It ain't California, but Atlanta, where he can turn up. Matt Ryan just lost Calvin Ridley. It only makes sense, man. Calvin Ridley, Odell Beckham, Pitts on one offense when Ridley comes back. Bro, come on now.
Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots. They need him and he needs them.
I think Odell Beckham Jr. could end up on the Chargers. Chargers already have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams as their 1 and 2, and Odell Beckham gives them that third wide receiver option, similar to how Keenan McCardle played with Phillip Rivers back in the day when the Chargers had LT and Vincent Jackson. Keenan McCardle was that perfect complement to that offense.
I think OBJ is going to Green Bay here, play for the Packers. I think this is an ideal fit because you get to be in an explosive offense led by Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Well, happy birthday, OBJ. You got your wish. You're out of Cleveland. My guess, I'm going to say the Saints. And his fit in that offense is fucking opportunity. Who else is there? Michael Thomas is out for the year.
The answer to this is going to be Washington football team or the Titans. And the reason I'm going this route is because, well, Washington football team, I feel like they would make a splash. They don't give a shit about locker room, and they actually have the cap to pick them up. Secondly, Titans, because Julio Jones has been injured all fucking season. And they actually have the cap running up to pick him up, and they are in the running for the playoffs.
For me, it's the Seattle Seahawks because they're still missing Carson, so the run game is less important to Pete Carroll than it has been in the past. And Freddie Swain's not a very good third wide receiver, so adding him to Metcalf and Lockett is going to be pretty cool. And Russell Wilson's going to be coming back soon from his finger injury, so that could be a pretty potent attack. especially when Odell Beckham is not washed. He's pretty good still.
You can make an argument for almost any single team in the NFL, with the exception of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, to go after him. Even the Bucs can. But if I had to pick one team, I'd want to see him on the Packers opposite Davante Adams, finally give Aaron Rodgers the wide receiver help he needs.
I think he goes to Tampa. Tom Brady has shown he can deal with attitudes. Antonio Brown has been unable to stay healthy in the slot where OBJ shined at the Giants in his career. OBJ is going to end up in Tampa because he's going to clear waivers, and they will get him for the veteran minimum. Cleveland will have to pay the rest of the contract.
I have many, many thoughts, but I'm going to let you.
So many fucking thoughts.
I'm going to let you go first because we might just be having me on a half-hour rant here once I get going. So,
all right. So first, I hate that Payne was right with the Washington football team thing. I'm just gonna say that flat out because he's right. Like we don't care about locker room or anything. Like we just don't give a fuck. Like we just don't care. We're just looking to have a decent team to where, and then hopefully just find a quarterback eventually. Like all we're caring about is finding a quarterback. So I could see Washington doing it and saying, hey, like now come play for us. Like we have Terry McLaurin, OBJ, like, Curtis Samuel will eventually get healthy. Like Logan Thomas, like, hey, like come play here. So I could see that very much becoming a case or like a case being made for that. Tennessee, why would you go with Tennessee if you can't keep and same thing with Tampa, if AB's not going to stay healthy, if Julio's not going to stay healthy, why am I going to bring in another diva, more attitude, more shit to deal with? Like, for especially with Tennessee, like you're not getting the production out of Julio right now. Why bring in another injury prone guy? Now you're gonna have two fucking primetime, almost what many consider primetime receivers injured, and they've been injury prone, the last couple of years of their career, and one being a Hall of Fame caliber receiver that you're not even getting to use, so Tennessee makes no sense. KC, I mean, Mahomes is still going to throw the fucking picks. Like, what is he going to? He's going to be the third receiver behind Kelsey and Hill. I mean, when technically I guess he landed as a 2 because they don't really have a 2. Like, Mecole's not it. Demarcus Robinson's not it. Byron Pringle's not it.
Josh Gordon
hasn't done shit. So OBJ is just kind of one of those names that to me at this point just sounds good. Like if he's on a team, Seattle, if he could shut up and color and be the 3 there, I could see that being a thing. And I could see the Packers, but it's like you have Davante Adams. If it's not broke, why are you trying to fix something? So it's weird where he lands. Like it's weird where he lands. Your thoughts?
There's so many. So, first of all, right, like we've been, that's been a common narrative out there in the sports world and in the football world is that Aaron Rodgers needs a second wide receiver to try and.
But he hasn't.
Right. Like that's the point I was just getting to is the fact that Davante Adams may very well be the best wide receiver in the NFL. Right. Like DeAndre Hopkins may have some argument with him on that one, but and some other guys out there may have a little bit of argument in there, but he is a phenomenal wide receiver when it comes down to it. And Aaron Rodgers came off of an MVP season where, according to this narrative that's being spun out there, he only had one guy to throw the ball to, but yet he still managed to have an MVP season and get back to a conference championship game yet again. So I could see why a lot of folks would write that narrative for the Packers there. But let's dive deeper into the reasons that we've been given as to why Odell wanted out of Cleveland, right? Like it was what we've been told is that he was frustrated with his lack of targets, with him not getting thrown the ball, with him, the ball not arriving on time, things like that. But a lot of that has to do with so Cleveland run first offense.
Yep.
They're going to continue to be a run first offense.
Yep.
As much as Seattle right now, like that was a team that was brought up there. Seattle run first offense, right? Like Pete Carroll wants to run the ball.
Yeah.
Wants to run the ball. Like that is Pete Carroll's narrative, wants to run the ball. Now, I think that Seattle's going to have to throw the ball a little bit more because their defense isn't up to what it normally has been in the past. And so you're going to see, almost have Russ cook a little bit when he comes back there. But if you weren't getting the type of targets and the amount of targets that you were wanting as the number one wide receiver on a run first team, how do you expect to have that being, what could very well be you being the third wide receiver on a run first team?
He will be the third receiver. Russell
Because-
Wilson is very big on, I have to have chemistry with you. Like
Right.
he
That's why
shows on his
Tyler
blog all
Lockett
the
is such a
time.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, it make no doubt about it. DK is the better receiver between those two, but Tyler Lockett continues to show up in a big way every single year because he and Russ are on the same page on every single play. Like, I don't know if when you go through and you watch film and you watch these guys break that down, like Russ makes a move, Tyler's already right there. Like, and they're so in sync on all of those things. And they know almost how watching those two together is a work of art when you watch them, because it looks like they're on the same wavelength on almost every single play. A broken play, it doesn't really look like it because they're so in sync on some of those things. So again, like that's one of those that third, you're going to be the third receiving option. You brought up the Kansas City point there, and that was one that was mentioned there as well. Kansas City, Tyreek is one of the better wide receivers in the league. Travis Kelce, best tight end in the league and one of the best receiving options in the league. Again, you're going to be playing the third target type of thing there. Now, granted, Kansas City's a run or pass first offense where they'll throw the ball 70% of the time, but the throwing that they do is also short and intermediate routes where it's an extension of the run game more so than a lot of deep downfield type of shots, things like that. So, and Kansas City's offense has never really utilized, a shot outside of Kelce and Hill on that one. Same thing too, right? Like you look back to a lot of those Philadelphia Eagles teams there, like the second wide receiver in that offense there wasn't necessarily all that relevant in a lot of years.
We haven't seen that Kansas City offense support a true wide receiver too. You're right. It all funnels through Kelce Hill.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's that offense.
Absolutely. Right. So like the same thing too with Tampa Bay, right? Like
within the case of DeMarcus Robinson.
Bingo, right? Tampa Bay, right? Like even if it's Antonio Brown's out and they're going to come in there, he's still the third receiving option in that, even with Gronk injured, even with AB injured. Gronk comes back, the chemistry's there between him and Brady. Like that's who Brady looks for down in the red zone. Absolutely, right? AB is the guy that Brady's been pounding the table for, that he wants in his offense and he wants to work there. So
AB slept on his fucking couch for like a little bit.
Right. Like if those two get back healthy, you're now the fifth receiving option in that type of offense there. But even if only one of them gets healthy, you're still probably fourth. So I don't know how those targets come to play there, where it's really going to be one that, he's going to be happy with that situation on going and playing for a lot of these contender type of things. The Saints are another one that I've heard that a lot of things out there right now, where right now the Saints are a run first team. And like Jameis Winston, before he got injured, and I use Jameis as the example there because that's the longest, that's the most data that we have this season on what that Saints offense looks like. When Jameis was there, he was he averaged one of the least amount of throws per game out there as a starting quarterback, right? Like there's not a ton of passing volume there, and they are a run first type of team. And I think them bringing Mark Ingram in and having Alvin Kamara there only cements that more so. If you weren't happy with the targets Baker was getting you, what does that look like with Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill?
Yeah,
like Taysom Hill's more likely to tuck that ball and run as he is to take shots down the field and really throw the ball and try and light that thing up for more than, what is there going to be? Maybe 25, 30 targets a game being thrown there in New Orleans. So again, I don't know where that fit lies there on that one. And I don't know what that looks like.
I could see, and that's where we have to look at teams, like Cincinnati's not going to do it. Cincinnati's completely fine and set with the receivers that they have.
Right.
Dallas isn't going to do it. They're set with the receivers that they have. They're definitely right now, because they're a contending team, they're definitely not about to break anything that they don't need to. If they were going to do that, they would have done it at the trade deadline. You
Mhm.
know, like if Dallas was going to Dallas would have done it 2 weeks ago, a
Right.
week ago. You
The
know,
Rams, that offense is set.
yeah, the Rams, yeah, McVay is just going to do McVay things. Like I could see maybe the Rams, just because LA, like Bright City, Hollywood, let's sell some tickets, let's sell some jerseys. I could see LA for that reason. I could see maybe him going to be a 3 for the Chargers, but like I don't think that Bradley's dealing with that, or Staley or whatever his name is.
Right, and
So
you've got
so
Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Austin Eckler at the
yeah,
Chargers there as well. So
exactly. I could see Washington. If Detroit was going to do it, they would have done it. Dan Campbell already said we ain't doing it.
right, they had the number one waiver priority, and they had a
And that
buku
says
amount of salary cap. Is that and you? I think you were going right here, but the team like Detroit, who has a hard time signing free agents, has a hard time bringing talent into the city, has more than enough salary cap to finish off his contract for this year, and had the number one waiver priority. Went oh, and by the way, they don't have really any wide receivers in Detroit either. Right, they're dealing with a rookie Amon St. Brown and Khalif Raymond, who neither one of those guys was in the 1 or 2 wide receiver spot to open the season. Yeah, they went, nah, we're good.
Atlanta,
maybe.
I could see it. I could see maybe Atlanta.
Atlanta can make some sense simply from the standpoint that Kyle Pitts, right? Well, yeah. Well, no, Miami doesn't make sense to me, because if they get all of their receivers healthy, right? Like they're dealing with Devontae Parker, who's on the IR. They're dealing with Will Fuller and that broken finger, and they've got Jalen Waddle. So all of their receivers get healthy. I don't know that makes sense for them to do that as well. You know, you're still struggling to try and get a healthy quarterback. Tua's missing the last game. So you've got controversy at quarterback there, it seems, on whether or not Tua is going to be able to start because of health. So you got Jacoby Brissett. Like that whole organization just seems like they're a little out of whack there. But the Atlanta can make sense, because at least if nothing else, you bring in OBJ, you're going to force the other defense to pay attention to him, if nothing else. And now you're going to see Kyle Pitts not get bracketed coverage, and you're going to allow your young rookie that you spent a 4th overall pick on, a tight end, and allow him to try and develop there a little bit more. So that one makes sense from that aspect of it. But I don't know if that's really a move that OBJ is wanting to go, because the Browns were a playoff team. They were going to be able to contend and potentially have a shot at making a move there. Atlanta is currently sitting in that playoff race there, but I think that's a big surprise to everybody. And I don't know that anybody really sees them still sitting in that 7th, 8th seed when
It's all said and done. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, he's got to go. I don't think that he gets a contender. Like, I think a contender may eventually say, you know what, fucking bring him in. And that's where he could end up on one of the teams where, like, you and I were like, oh, it's not a fit. But I think that if he ends up on a contender, I think he could end up being very toxic. I think that it could be the demise of that team very quickly. If you're a contender, you're bringing them in for a very short period of time, because you're trying to have the least amount of damage done possible.
Well, it also depends too on situation there, right? Like if you have a very strong, established quarterback in the league, an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, a Russell Wilson, some of these guys that have more star power type of thing to their name than anybody else on the team, and it's very clearly their team. I think that could, whether that you've got a very established head coach and established culture there as well, that could also change some things there as well, as far as that narrative that you're talking about. But it's going to be the right kind of situation for teams to bring him in. And I do agree.
It's going to be organizations that don't give a shit, like that don't care about like character issues or anything like that, or organizations that need to put asses in seats. Washington, Raiders, Jacksonville. Because Urban has no like Urban's still Urban, and Khan is just gonna, he's just gonna let whatever happens. This could be well. So yeah, I mean, those are like options that like I see. Yeah, we touched on that. Like it's just I don't see him wanting to be a third.
Yeah.
Unless he's just ring chasing. I mean, if you're Odell at this point, that's all that you can do with as injury prone as you are is ring chase.
Yeah, like I said, if that's the case, like I don't know why the narrative that we were given of not happy with getting, not getting the ball when we're open, not getting those types of things, that the narrative that was given to us that way. I just don't know that makes sense because again, they're now playing third fiddle.
Ranked out of 62 qualifying receivers, he was number 62 in passes deemed catchable. You don't even catch the ball with two hands anymore, bro. Like you ever since your big major one-handed catch, all you do is one-handed grabs. You're not even playing receiver anymore. You're just out there trying to do acrobatic shit. Like, why do you think a team does not want to pick you up? It's between your injuries, your character issues. And I get that a lot of the Browns were like, oh, well, OBJ was kind of like a mentor. Da, da, da. Well, receivers also think the same. And receivers are also, the hive mind of like the diva mindset. Receiving cores are very much hive mind mentality type of people. Whereas like no receiver can do wrong. Da, 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 da. Like, but then it's also like, bro, you're not playing football, bro. Like you're just doing you. You're just doing what you want to do. The last throw that I remember seeing from or the last pass that I remember seeing from OBJ this season, Baker literally puts it on a dime, bro, and OBJ goes up like this. It's just straight one hand. Doesn't even put the other hand. His other hand is like just down by his waist, not doing shit, not fending off a defender, just jumps in the air and goes up one hand and it just hits his hand and it just goes off of his hand. Incomplete. Like, bro, no. You're not like you're good. You're really talented. You're a freak of a nature athlete. But you're not doing what teams need to help them win. You're doing what looks good for your highlight reel.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the news comes and how this looks and how this works as the as these waiver talk. He has already cleared waivers, and as he's talking to some of these teams, and as those news has been reported, so it'll be interesting to see. And I'm sure we'll probably have more to talk about next weekly windup when we finally get some more info on that one. Real quick, Justin chiming in on YouTube. Would you do this? He gives up DJ Moore and gets Julio and Smith. No.
Which Smith?
I'm going to assume that he means Devonta Smith, and I'm still going to say no.
Yeah, if he's like saying like Devontae or Jonnu or no, like I was just no. Like it's just no.
DJ Moore is the third most targeted receiver in the league this year, and I'm going to take that volume, and I'm going to take the opportunity on that one.
And
Julio's been injured. Devonta Smith and that Phillies, we hear it every week coming through there, rumors or not. Is this the week that Jalen Hurts gets the hook and now it's Gardner Minshew or whatever that looks like? The turnover and turmoil in that quarterback room is not going to do any favors if that's Devonta Smith there. I don't think so. No, I'm sticking with DJ Moore.
Fuck no.
And then he says Dame Dollar taking the shot.
So I think when we were talking about a game 7, he thought that we were talking about basketball.
Yeah,
that's when that comment came in. Yeah,
fair enough. If I've got a game 7 and I need somebody to close out the game, I'm going to MJ. I'm going to Kobe. I'm going to two of the greatest closers and finishers of all time.
And if I have to do it strictly on today's game, it'll be Steph. It'll be Steph Curry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Dollar Dame. Get a ring and then and when they hit that clutch shot, to get you a ring, not to get you close to a ring, to get you a ring. And I could probably,
get the guy that can launch it from anywhere on the floor, make it, and gets that shot off in 0.1 seconds. Absolutely, I'll if I've got to go today's, I'm right there with you with Steph. So Awesome. Well, Robbie, any final thoughts for the viewers and listeners out there?
Download the SportsMe app. Get on over to the SportsMe app. Interact with some of the best analysts and real life sports fans like yourselves. If you need fantasy football advice or betting advice or whatever, anyone and everyone over there can help you, and you can help each other as well. You guys can share your ideas, debate with each other, and also join our daily cash games. Win some money.
I like it. I like it. When you were talking entertainers and auto tune.
I might need that. I know. Yeah.
I know I do. I know I certainly do. So I'm not even going to try and. Oh, yeah, exactly. And it was Devontae Smith that he was talking about there. So.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, guys, that's going to wrap us up here on the SportsMe Weekly Windup. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you very much. Before we head out, though, do us a couple of favors. Head on over to the YouTube channel. Click the subscribe button, ring the bell. That way you get those notifications every time we drop one of these videos, right? We're bringing out lots of recaps and replays of the actual videos from the Daily Cash Game over on our YouTube channel. So hit it up, check it out. Make sure that you're clicking the subscribe button, ringing the bell so you get the notifications on that, as well as the fact, guys, we are doing daily cash games on the SportsMe app all the time, every day. Make sure that you're downloading the app. Get sportsme.com, the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store. It's there. Download it. Get yourself in the ability to win some cash. Like, do you like talking sports, Robbie? I know I do.
Love talking sports.
Do you like winning money? I know I do. I don't know anybody that that's listening to this that doesn't like talking sports and doesn't like winning money. And now you can do both when you download the SportsMe app and play the daily cash game. Your take is your buy-in. Get it done.
Yes,
download it today. Make it happen. He's Robbie. I'm Derek. Have a great day.